listening to First in Line, your all access pass to fan culture. I'm Liv,
I'm Elham.
and we have so much to talk about today.
So much drama this week.
I know, but it's the first week of the year where there's really been enough for us to really dig our teeth into everything.
hmm
So I like to thank every party that participated in filling some of the drama this week.
Yes.
And exciting news is that I am officially going to Heated Rivalry Club Night next week.
My
Tell you
God.
about how it goes. I've been watching TikToks, which is so funny, like watching TikToks about like a club night,
hmm
and it looks so fun. So I'm very excited to go. I have my babysitter set up. I got the tickets without even having a babysitter, but I've got that set up now, so I'm definitely
I'm
going.
so excited for you to go. So you can tell us all about it. I'm assuming they just play like edits on the
Yeah,
screen
they
and
play edits
yeah.
and then they also just play all kinds of music. Like I saw they played Paramore and I think probably just music that you wouldn't normally hear in the club.
hmm
So I'm excited about that because it's probably going to be stuff that I actually want to dance to. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And it's at
Oh
like
my
the one
God.
that I'm going to is at like a concert venue. So that's cool. It's like a venue that I've been to a bunch of times before. So excited
I'm
about that.
excited. Speaking of exciting, should we do the boyfriend of the week?
Yeah, I was going, that's what I was actually going to say. So today we're going to be talking at some point about Carl Radke's book. And I just want to say that if you make him your boyfriend of the week, I think I would drop dead. So
I don't think he's
I'm
gonna be my
very,
boyfriend of the week.
I'm very anxious about it. But please tell us your boyfriend of the week.
I can't. Okay, this week we have two boyfriends of the week
Two
because
again.
two things happened this week, like at the beginning of the week and like now, or whatever, last weekend. From the time we recorded the last podcast. So my first boyfriend of the week is going to be Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, my hometown team. He brought us back from the dead, back from embarrassment, shame. Nothing exciting was happening for the Bears for years. And this year was the most exciting season I've ever witnessed, honestly. Like, it was so fun. They ended up losing in the second round of the playoffs or whatever. The divisional round to the Rams sucked, but it was worth, like, everything happened for a reason, and this season was super fun. So he's my first boyfriend of the week. And my second boyfriend of the week, I feel like I have to make this person my boyfriend of the week, also because Eric, who's Liv's husband, texted me about about this person. It was like, can't wait for him to be the boyfriend of the week. And I was like, wait, that's actually a good idea. And it's obviously Harry.
Yeah, had
Obviously,
to
it's
be.
it
I
has to
think
be
you would
Harry.
have some haters in the comments if you didn't pick Harry as a boyfriend of the week. So
New Harry album, new Harry era, new Harry single. It's been
it
a
came out
fun week.
right at perfect time. What do you think about the single?
It definitely grew on me. The first time I listened to it, I was kind of like, this is not really what I was expecting, especially because they had like listening parties or whatever. And everyone who went to listening party was describing the song in such a different way than what it actually sounded like. But it definitely has grown on me. Like, I like it a lot. And I'm excited for this new kind of dance house music vibe
Yeah,
because it's
excited
so
for the single.
random. But
Yeah, I think I've definitely learned from past not to judge on the first listen
mhm.
because there's so many songs that I've listened to that end up being like one of my favorite songs on the album, especially when you listen to it as like a whole. So I feel like you really can't judge singles on the first listen anymore,
Yeah.
especially when it's a different vibe or like a departure from like what you are used to previously. So I think it just takes some getting used to. But
Yeah.
I liked it on the first listen. It took a little bit to get into the song.
Yeah, it has a really long intro.
Yeah.
Also, it's been like 4 years since he released a new song, which also I feel like plays into that because I'm like, I've not heard you sing, let alone like speak in like 3 years. Like, I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but yeah, I liked it.
What do you think about his tour choice to do residencies in select cities?
Oh,
The internet is outraged at the idea that fans are now expected to travel to specific
yeah.
cities just to see. And I do think we lose some of the sparkle of like the Eras tour, right? Like what Taylor Swift
hmm
just did. It's actually really interesting to see something like what Taylor Swift just did, and then the total opposite in what Harry's doing of like only picking select few cities, and it seems to be like the same cities kind of that he's continuing to revisit.
Yeah. I definitely at first was like, okay, I like missed the residency tour that he did in 2022, but I
You
think
should
that,
say, sorry, I feel like this is good context for anyone that doesn't know you, is that you
yeah,
live in Minnesota
yes,
and you also are someone who's gonna have to travel to go see him
yes,
or and have
exactly.
for other tours. So I feel like you're a good spokesperson for the opinion on this.
Yes, and who's had to honestly travel to see him. The last time he came here was in 2021. So I've traveled to see him multiple times on his second and third versions of his last tour. And I like it. The aspects of the residencies that I like is like, I'm always, MSG is like an iconic venue. It's fun to see a show there. And I love New York. Like, I'm never going to say no to a trip to New York. However, I think having 30 shows in the same city across 3 months, also considering the time that it is in, it's in the fall, like, it's in the middle of like, it's not in the summer where people are more open to traveling and easier to travel. It's like in this time where it's kind of hard to travel. And also, the dates are so scattered. Like, what I liked about the Eras
Well,
tour
it's
is
funny
that,
because that's what Eric was like. When are the Rangers and I think it's the Knicks? When are
yeah,
the Rangers and the Knicks gonna play?
literally.
Are staggered that way, but
But
it makes it hard. Well, because I was saying like it's good in the sense of if you're someone that is going to go to multiple shows. Like
yeah,
I get it for people that are just going to go to one show and you're in Minnesota and you're only going to go to a show in Minnesota, like that sucks. For people that are going to travel, it's nice because you only have to go to one place, but because it's so spread out, it still makes it painful because it's like not everyone can go for the 30 day, not even,
yes.
it's not just 30 days, it's over a period of days that make up the number 30.
Yeah, exactly. And also it's like getting like the dates are so scattered. Like it'll be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or it's like on a Tuesday, then it's like it's just like so scattered. Whereas what I liked about the Eras tour is that every show was on a weekend. It was Friday through Sunday, really easy to travel around, really easy to like prepare for. And I just think I don't know, there's pros and cons to it. One huge pro to me, honestly, is the fact that he's not doing a stadium tour in America because the thought of a Harry Styles stadium tour in America is like actually my worst nightmare. Like I do not want to see him in a stadium in America because I just feel like one, it's so stupid expensive already to see him in an arena that I can't even imagine putting him in like Gillette Stadium, how much that would cost or whatever, or what's the state, whatever, MetLife or
Yeah.
whatever would cost. But I also just feel bad because it's like, think another thing, another aspect of it is like, like millions of people are going to be trying to get tickets to this concert, to any of the shows that they possibly can get their hands on, versus like when he comes to your city, or you're more likely to get a ticket because only a certain number of people live here and people can travel and like try and get tickets, but it's more likely that a local would get a ticket versus like someone who doesn't live here. And I don't know, it's just hard. But I also get the touring musician aspect of it where I mean, this guy's toured since he was like, what, 17, 18 years old
Yeah.
with One Direction. I understand why he wants to just stay in one place. He did it last tour or whatever. Like, stay in one place for an extended period of time. You don't have to travel. Everyone, your crew, your band, they can just be in New York City for 3 months and everything's just there. But I don't know. And then he keeps being like, because he did interviews, like these radio interviews, and they're like, "Are you going to come to the West Coast?" He's like being kind of like cheeky about it, which I'm assuming he probably will next
Mhm.
year go to the West Coast. But then it's also like, okay, so you're just going to do 30 days at the Forum? That's also not fair. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like, unless he goes to like other major cities. But I don't know. I just hope I
He's
get a
gonna
ticket
break
to at
records
least one.
though. I mean,
No, because literally I said that. I go, he's coming for Billy Joel. Billy Joel has done 150 shows at MSG and counting. He has a banner for 150. Maybe he's done more. But I'm like, he's coming for that. Because right now he's at 15. He's going to be at 45. It's,
how many shows are you putting your thoughts on?
okay. I really need to go see him during Harry Ween because I've never missed a Harry Ween. To be that type of annoying ass person, yes, that's true. I've never missed a Harry Ween. I need to see him on Halloween weekend. So I want to see him at least once or twice. Like I can't do my psychosis has come to an end where I
Are you
can't be seeing
sure?
him like 15 times. No, I can't. But like I feel like
Are you
at
going to
least,
London?
you know what's so
Okay,
funny
she's
is
going
that
to London.
Amy texted me, our friend Amy. She goes, friend of the pod, Amy. She texted me about how she was like, her niece wants to go to London and so she's going to try. And then I was like, I don't know if I can swing it because like, whatever. I was just like, I have a lot of travel plans. And then like 3 hours later, I was like thinking about it and she texted me again something else. And I go, well, honestly, if you are being serious about going to Wembley, if you can like get me a ticket, I might see what I can do. But I can't. Like, I'm like, even if I get tickets, I just don't want to be crazy anymore. It's too much. Like, it's too much. But who knows?
I learned my lesson when Heated Rivalry came out that I will do literally anything.
I know.
Also,
Well,
like
it's like,
in the
let's just
movie,
be
like
free,
literally,
be
like,
ourselves.
like Brad Simpson came for one show, and I was like, "All right, let's go. I'll camp all night. Like, let's go." Me and my friend were sitting outside the venue at like 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no one there. It was literally for a 100-person capacity show. Like, in the streets of New York, looking at my friend, like, "Why are we doing this?"
Well, cause we have to be barricade, baby.
Duh. Which we have to pick our barricade or bust for the week. Mine is old again. I'm going for my second kind of old show in a row. I'm picking Mindhunter because Eric and I have binged the entire series. It's only 2 seasons, which is kind of sad, on Netflix. It's about like the beginning of behavioral profiling in the FBI, and it's set in the 70s. And Jonathan Groff of Glee fame,
What?
Broadway fame, plays the lead character. He's so good in it. I'm really sad that they canceled it after 2 seasons because there's some like loose ends that they kind of had through season one and season two, like a serial killer that they teased that they never get to explore or catch. But it's a really good show for anyone that's interested in like the criminal minds of it all.
That's good. I also have a show this week too, but a new show called His and Hers on Netflix, which is about it's like a husband and wife who one's a reporter and one's a cop, and they're trying to solve this murder that happened in their small town. And they each think the other person is like somehow involved in it. And it's really good. It has Tessa Thompson, John Bernthal, and I literally watched it all. I watched it all yesterday. It's only 6 episodes, limited series, but it's so good and just a very interesting story, and it really hooked me.
I didn't know that it was a book. I read Alice Feeney's.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's based on an Alice Feeney book thriller, obviously. And I've read some of her other novels, but I hadn't read this one. And then I saw at the end, Eric and I watched the first 2 episodes. He didn't want to watch the rest, so now I'm just sitting here waiting. I might have to watch them without him, but I haven't read it. So now I'm like, oh, I should have read it first. But I'm kind of glad that this is like the fourth or fifth show that I watched recently where I haven't read the book and I'm just vibing.
Yeah.
Is
Because
that
All Her
a
Fault was
writer?
also a book. No, literally, I'm like, I didn't know it was a book. That honestly makes me want to read the book because the show, I really like the show, even though I know how it ends, but I feel like maybe I'll read it. I really need to get to my reading era, guys. Let's pray that next week my barricade or bus is a book.
There's been so much good TV on. We need to talk about Traitors before we get into any other topics for this episode. Episode 6 came out this week. Thoughts, Elha?
This was like the most anxiety inducing episode I feel like that I've watched this whole season. I was like very scared. Like I was like scared what was
during the
happen.
removal. It was pounding.
I just want to start off by saying that Liv and I are both on the right side of history when it comes to Ron. We love Ron, and like I just love him. Even this episode, like even though we all know what happened at the end, like I still just loved how he was like kind of like, you know what? He was like, I'm sick of this. Like I've been being bullied for 4 days. Literally, also shocking that it was only 4 days long that they've been filming. But he goes, I've been bullied for 4 days. Like, just vote me out. Just, I want to go home. Like, literally, the sound of that girl on TikTok was like, just vote, just vote. I know I'm already out. Just vote. Like, he's like, bye. You guys hate me. You don't like me. You think I'm a traitor. Goodbye.
I'm glad he did it though, because it came down to kind of being like between him and Colton originally before Lisa's name got thrown in. And I think that if they did, what he was saying was like, you guys are still going to wonder if you don't vote me out now. So just vote me out so that you find out and you guys can get further. If they picked Colton and voted Colton out and he was a faithful, they would have all just gone back on to Ron the next week. So I'm glad that I'm actually at the end glad that they voted him out because Ron did not deserve that.
No.
The funny part too with him is like, he's playing chess with Rob, which like, Rob, the fact that he's like, I don't want to vote him out. Like,
he's like, I like him. He's my friend.
Like, he needs to go home because everyone's got their eyes on him. So, like, just send him home. And Rob's like, I don't want to vote him out. And him and Ron are playing chess. And Ron's like, yeah, you would be the perfect traitor. And then they just keep going with their chess game.
I know, that was making me laugh so hard. And also, I know the Rob propaganda is working on us heavy, guys. I get it. But I feel like that conversation was so sweet to me, and I genuinely believe everything that Rob was saying, because this is like a game where you kind of be an asshole, and he wasn't, even to him, even in his confessionals or whatever, his little anything. And I feel like what Ron said to Rob was so sweet too, where he was like, you're really nice, like you make people from the South really proud, like you should be proud of yourself. And Rob kind of being like, I understand how it feels to be the odd one out and to be an introvert. And that moment was just really sweet, because we've had literally 5 episodes where Ron is kind of just being like not talk to him in a kind way, and kind of like
And the
disregarded.
only thing that you're getting is like Dorinda really going in on
I
him,
know.
saying that he doesn't care about Dorinda's family, which I don't understand why that's such
Which
a
it's like,
big point for
why do
her.
we care? Yeah,
And Ron did come out and say online that Dorinda
she was
was really
mean.
throwing some like pointed daggers at him. So I get if that's the case, but I feel like that's not a reason to necessarily be like gunning for someone to go on
Yeah,
the show. It was really
I'm I'm really intrigued about I'm really intrigued about what's gonna happen at the reunion, because I feel like the people who've been like doing promo for the show or whatever, like the cast, has been reacting to it is like so different than like what we kind of see.
Mhm.
Because you can kind of tell that Ron is being isolated and things like that, or you can kind of tell that other this way where he just tells people things and then they just like believe it. I feel like
Can we talk
a
about that?
lot of the
They all they spent so much of this episode saying that they were gonna vote Colton out no
yes.
matter what. They were gonna get the numbers, they were gonna vote him out. They bring it to the table, you are throwing out names and you're just picking people and we're all following you, and then Colton throws Lisa's name out and they all follow him. Granted, I do think some of what Colton was saying, even though I'm mad that it's correct, and I don't necessarily think it's correct for the right reasons of like what he's
Hmm.
decided. He is right, Lisa is a traitor. But
Yeah.
they all did exactly what they said they weren't gonna do, which is he's going to throw a name out randomly and then they're all going to vote for that person. Is that not what they were just doing?
No, exactly. And I think I don't know what it is about the Faithfuls. I don't know. Like the cast this season is so interesting because yeah, they don't no one it seems like no one thinks for themselves. Like Johnny and Tara were making
Yeah.
Kristen, the one who's like a chef. Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, Tara, and Kristen are all making very good points about Colton. So they're like bringing all these people together, like whatever, like you said. And but then I feel like maybe they just get scared that they're going to be wrong. So then they're like, well, he has more conviction and like like he has more sway. They might feel that way already, or like he's the traitor, so we don't want to like say something wrong or be like murdered. I don't know what it is, but it's like so
It
weird because I'm
definitely
like,
is like a game about not being murdered too. But also I think even if he is a faithful, if they get him out, that's one
and
less
yeah,
like there's one less person and then it's not him. So I think there is like deducing that's going on of like if we just have one more person that's gone, it's not the end of the world if we don't get a traitor. But they
yeah,
still have to weed these traitors out that have been sitting like aside from Lisa, Candace and Rob have been sitting really
yeah.
pretty within this group, like not rattled at all.
I
So
know.
I'm wondering when they're gonna start figuring out
Realizing that.
they have to pick out at least one. I think Lisa's definitely gonna be the first one to
Same.
go.
Because also, Colton, I feel like, is telling a lot of people that he thinks it's Lisa, which is interesting. He told, obviously, Rob, and I think someone else was in the room too, but I know he told Rob for sure.
And
Then he
Dorinda.
tells Dorinda at breakfast, being like, and then he said, yeah, he says it again, like, don't you think she's acting weird? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, don't you think this is a weird game plan that you're just telling everybody that comes, like, it's like, who are you going to tell next, Candace? Because his
Well,
whole
the
thing is
weirdest
you're,
part is when he confronted Lisa and then was
yeah,
like, if you
I
don't
hated that.
deal with me, then I'm getting you banished. Okay.
Okay. I'm like, okay. And that was weird to me. And I also really hated how he was like, well, you're not. This is someone who watches a lot of Bravo, watches Housewives, where he's like, you're not acting like a housewife. You're not acting like a housewife. And it's like, what? That's why I liked when she like was like at the round table, like, what do you want me to do? Throw a wine glass at you? Like, it's like, this is not the Housewives. This is Traitors. Like, I can understand what he means by her loud personality and things like that, but I do think she is still acting like that. Like, she is being Lisa Rinna. She's being herself. She's has these outrageous reactions and things like that. But maybe she's not, screaming across the table. But this is not the show for that. Like, this is not a housewives show. This is Traitors. Like, you don't fight. You don't like really fight in the same way.
And that's why I'm saying like he's right, but in the wrong way. And also in that show, like there's no reason to fight unless your name is up, right? So like
Yeah,
she did come out when her name got brought up, but why would she just be like defending herself or fighting at the round table if her name's not being thrown into the ring?
yeah,
Part of the game, right, is not to draw attention to yourself. Even all the other faithfuls are doing that
hmm,
too. They're letting the loudmouths like Colton, who's gonna
yeah,
speak, and everyone else is kind of sitting back. So it makes sense that Lisa would be doing the same thing. It's just gameplay. So he's right. I mean, she is a traitor, but I don't think it's for the you're Lisa Rinna and you're not doing what Lisa Rinna does.
yeah.
It's a
It's
game.
like
It's totally different than Housewives.
I know. I liked how I wish she would have been like, yeah, you're right. I voted for Portia because I thought she was a traitor and I'm not letting my like housewives like
Yeah.
thing, like housewives stick together. This is a show where one person is supposed to be like this is a show where you're low key like it's like everyone for themselves at the end of the day because like at the end don't you want the money like it's like why do I care that Portia's my friend, why do I care that
I don't know. Is she really Portia's friend?
I
Like that's
know it's like that's
insane.
also
She was
another
like,
thing. They
why do
they
I
just
care about
work for the
Portia?
same. Yeah, they just work in the same network.
Yeah.
They're not even in the same. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they're not even on the same from the same
Yeah.
city or whatever. They're not from the same franchise. They literally just work on the same network. And it's so interesting because once again, like, what about Dorinda? Like, what about Candace? Like, I'm like, you are acting like Lisa and Portia were the only two people here, and they formed some sort of alliance. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. He just really sucks, and I'm really interested um to see what happens at like the dinner party thing that they
Right?
have
Yeah.
and
I'm
how someone has
excited.
to touch the like jewelry. I like really need to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited for the drama.
Alan Cummings said somewhere, I saw this on Twitter, he
Yeah,
goes,
that
it's
it's
the
like the best
best.
TV episode he's ever been a part of. So
I'm scared.
I'm excited. The season is shaping up to be like really good
It's
and
so good.
dramatic. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh wait, can we talk about Rob voting Lisa though? Before I know
Yeah.
we've been on this for like 10 minutes, but I was so gagged.
I like knew he was going to do it, and I was hoping that they would have the numbers to vote her out, honestly,
Yeah.
because I know that traitor on traitor crime goes down really bad. Like it's bad for your I think he had to do it for his game with the faithfuls, but it
Mm-hmm.
also makes your position with the traitors so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Think again, like he might win because everyone is so blind to how hot he is. I think even
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, though she wants to say she's not, I think she's gonna forgive him for it. But it's like really bad to do traitor on traitor
I know.
voting. But I think he had to because
He had a good point.
he what he really shouldn't have done was stood up for Ron. He should have just let Ron go. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that he still wanted to be the good guy and he likes Ron and didn't want to vote him out. Like I like that about Rob. But he said that and then he couldn't vote for Colton because he's part of Colton's group. So I think he had to vote for Lisa.
Yeah. Which, but I was so, when he said that, when he wrote Lisa in big, huge letters, I go, oh
Well,
my
he did his whole speech.
God.
Like the
Yeah.
speech that really did him in, I think, with Lisa is talking about being a faithful. I think it was very well done, but I
I
think it's
know.
going to cause him some issues. I did read somewhere, and I agree with this, that if Lisa does get banished, that he should kill Colton. And I think it's true because no one's going to suspect that it's him, especially after
Hmm.
he didn't vote for Colton at the round table.
And the
If
sooner,
that go out, then he needs to get rid of Colton.
I know, the sooner Colton gets off my TV screen, the happier I
Which,
will be.
wait, another thing with Rob is when Colton said that he was gonna watch because he's so smart, and no one is as smart as him. They who defended Lisa when he brings up her name. So he brings up her name to Rob in the car, and Rob is like, "Yeah, I think that's plausible." Like, thank God he is not stupid because
Yeah.
that would have set off red flags. So I'm really glad that he's smart enough to know that he can defend the traitors, but like he can't
Do it
let
too hard.
yeah, for his game. So I liked that about his decision making, but I just wish that when he voted for her, I wish that Lisa got voted out because it just will cause issues for him in going forward.
I know.
Why am I rooting for a traitor? So
Well,
horrible.
who else do we want to win? Who are the from the faithfuls do you even want to win?
Probably just Mara.
Like, I want to know.
To steal Mara's money. Stephen Coletti. Which someone commented on our TikTok, which was a clip of us talking about Steven last week, and said that they stand on business that Steven should have been the secret traitor. And I think that would have been such a good choice.
Yeah, because he's, I mean, he's still fucking there. And no one, like, literally, I'm telling you guys, the one time he spoke was when someone complimented his sweater and he said, thank you. Like, I'm like, what is happening? Maybe
I
because
think
there's
if
just
he
too
was a
many
traitor, no one
people.
would guess it.
No. And I think it's because we're still early in the season, so there's a lot of people in the damn house. So, like, he gets no screen time. But also, I don't know, because I know you watch Survivor, don't you?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
I saw people on Twitter have been saying that, like, it's literally like a lot of the Survivor people like act like the shield is like an immunity like they're
Yeah.
treating the shield like an immunity necklace even in times where like you should, like, everyone agrees no one's touching the shield, no one's doing this, and they still,
That's what I
like,
wrote
it
down.
wasn't.
Like, why is Jam Jam trying to get the shield?
Like, it's
When
like,
they all
what?
agreed they weren't going to get the shield. And Mara's like, we literally said we were going to banish whoever went for a shield. Like, you don't need the shield. So desperate to, like, stay in the game. Like, just go for
Not like, but not paying
it.
attention to like what was agreed upon. But I do think some of the Survivor people, I'm like, okay, guys, we are not on Survivor. Like, let's relax a bit and like calm down. But because Survivor gameplay is different than Traitors. But it's just so funny that, yeah, when he goes, should we go for the one with the shield? And she's like, what?
And she's like, you're a traitor.
Mara kills me. Also, I'm sorry, sis. Loved your, hated the wig. The wig, the bang wig. I literally was like, is that? I'm like, was second guessing myself. Like, was
Well,
her
because
hair always looking like
I
that?
found out that they do breakfast, so they get all glam for breakfast. Then they do the challenge. Then they go back into the same clothes. So like I kind of get why she would do a wig because
It
probably
was
scared.
bad. The wig was bad. I'm sorry.
One of the other bombshells from this week was Brooklyn Beckham's
I
stories. Brooklyn came out and it's been rumbling for a few months that he's been estranged from his family, the Beckhams of David Beckham and Victoria Beckham fame. And he finally came out on Instagram and posted a selection of stories stating why he is estranged from his family, including that his mother danced inappropriately on him at his wedding and stole his opportunity to have his first dance with his wife instead. And also, possibly the most first world problem is that they were threatening him about changing his name. Like,
Yeah, that
how
was
weird is
weird.
no one cared about me changing my name? They're like, please
It's
change your name, actually.
And there's a lot of like discrepancies. Well, what I will say is a lot of people have very strong opinions about this drama, which I find interesting because obviously they're celebrities. We love celebrity gossip as much as the next person. But also at the end of the day, to me, like, I'm like, this is a family, and this is like kind of really sad. Like, your oldest son hates you, essentially, wants nothing to do with his parents at all, which will then obviously fracture the relationship he has with his siblings. And that's just really sad to me as two people. I think sad to both of us as two people who really love our families. Like, I just am like, this old, when he said, starts off like literally the second paragraph, it's like, I do not want to reconcile with my family. And I'm just like, what? Like, shocking. But a lot of people are like, well, you said to Vogue magazine that you did this. And then in this thing, you're saying this. Well, it's like, yeah, I think when you're writing, 2 years ago and you're all happy with your family and everything's all fine and it's your wedding and this is a Vogue piece about your wedding, you're not really going to talk about when Mark Anthony said the most beautiful woman in the room and Victoria Beckham came up and not the bride. Like, you're not going to really talk about, like, oh, Nicola and Victoria were working on her wedding dress.
Which was always
And
rumored that she was supposed to wear a
yes,
Victoria Beckham dress.
yes. And then it ended up that she was in custom, I think Valentino or Versace, I can't remember. We'll fact check that. But and then people are like, "Well, in Vogue, you said that you were working on your custom Versace dress for a year." And it's like, "Yeah, because I'm sure, like Brooklyn said, it doesn't, a wedding dress doesn't turn around in a month, especially if you're going for this couture look. Like, it's not going to be made in a month." And what I believe happened, maybe this is the truth, or maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's not, whatever, is that she was going to wear Victoria Beckham. She wore a Victoria Beckham dress to her rehearsal dinner or something, or her engagement party or something like that. And I think she was going to, but then maybe she was like, maybe the mom Beckham couldn't make the dress that she wanted or whatever, and something happened, and she's just like, well, actually, I'm a billionaire's daughter. Do I want to be in Victoria Beckham couture or do I want to be in like Versace Valentino couture? I'm gonna obviously take the designer with the higher name tag to it on my wedding. And I think in that case, like both parties can be upset at that. Like you can be upset that the mother-in-law didn't want to maybe what's the word like come to a compromise. And you
Yeah.
can also be upset that your new daughter-in-law didn't want to wear your dress. Like I just think there's so many things that I
I'm
feel like
sad that it's
people.
on the internet because it makes it so much harder to
Yes.
reconcile once it's on the internet. Like, I really wanted it to just never see the light of day. I mean, for the drama, I love it. I want more details. Like, I need wedding footage, insider
Oh my
sources
God.
coming out. Like, I'm surprised
Like,
we haven't heard more about it. But also, I really just like don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see
same.
like families fighting on my.
Breaking down. Like I don't and like honestly like even because a lot of people have been comparing it and I think it is to the smallest percentage of scales to like Meghan and Harry because obviously the Beckhams are not the royal family and like Nicola Peltz is not Meghan Markle being like racially attacked. Like okay. But I think it's really because even that is sad to me. Like it's sad to me that Harry and William are two brothers who will have this fractured relationship now because of this whole royal family bullshit. And it's like that to some people thrive on like reading all these articles about them hating each other or whatever. And I'm like, that's just sad. Like they're the only two people who know what it's like to grow up this way. Just like Brooklyn Beckham and his siblings are the only two people to know how, or the two people, the only four people to know how it feels to grow up in the limelight of like your parents being two of the most iconic British celebrities ever and like two people who like have been mega famous in the papers since the minute you were born. And I just think it's like there's no empathy and like I don't know what's going to happen like cuz it's I don't think there's going to be a compromise like and that to me is really sad. Like I feel like Brooklyn Beckham is kind of like I have my new family now and I'm happy here and I don't want anything to do with you guys, so leave me alone. And maybe this is his way of just being like clearing like him from, which is interesting because it's like, well, you're going to air your dirty laundry out on Instagram stories and then be like, never talk, please, tabloids, never talk about
Yeah.
me again. But I don't know because like I just am like, oh my God, Victoria Beckham, like
Well, it's really
that's your
interesting that they've
son.
had like two documentaries come out that have been like receiving that or depicting them well in the media this year,
Mm-hmm.
this to now be coming out. So everything is always in this industry like so calculated. I'm intrigued to see where this goes because like you mentioned, it's really hard to come out with a statement like that and then say, but I don't want to talk about it anymore and then expect no one to talk about it. I think David came out and promoted UNICEF when he was asked about his son, but again, how long are they gonna be able to just ignore it now that it's kind of like come past the surface of just rumors?
Yes.
So we'll see where that goes.
Can I say one more thing too?
No.
Do you think the dance? Okay, I really need your thoughts about the inappropriate dance because people are like, was she twerking on you? Whatever. I think what he means by inappropriate and took, inappropriate slash. He also said like ruined a moment with my wife or something. Is the fact that Mark Anthony said the words "the most beautiful woman in the room, please come to the stage, Victoria Beckham,"
No, that
and
is
then
crazy if that's true. That is crazy.
yes, because I think I'm like, and then I think she went to the stage and danced, and he goes, "This is inappropriate." Like, I don't think she was like dance
Okay,
actually
I'm
on
not sure
him.
that like I feel like that would be really like I know
Where's the no
some
video?
crazy things on TikTok. I feel like one, it's really weird that this hasn't come up if she was like really like grinding on him or something, doing something crazy. Like I feel like someone would have said something.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the most beautiful person thing in the room could definitely be construed as like that's uncomfortable, inappropriate, like that's weird when you're the groom and your bride is there. But also I saw something that said like it was like put your hands on each other's hips or something, that Mark Anthony said that or someone said that.
Well, that's not. That's just
And
dancing.
like I don't know, like is that weird? I don't know. So it's really odd, but the fact that he said that he didn't provide any more color to that picture really is just making people's minds
Yes.
wonder. And so I wish that there was more color for that because like now I'm really confused. Like that's the most confusing part of his whole statement to me. Everything else makes sense, albeit like the name selling thing because I'm just not famous or rich enough to understand
Yeah.
that. but it's like what kind of movement was happening here and why was it inappropriate?
Because yeah, it's like I'm sorry. Even the most,
You're
I'm
telling
sure
me
there
in a
was
room full of
all
500 people, Victoria Beckham was gonna like do something crazy and like,
no one was gonna call up the Daily Mail
yeah,
or TMZ. Like really, like
yeah.
even if these are all A-listers or whatever celebrities, I'm sorry, someone somewhere is calling up TMZ and saying yesterday Victoria Beckham twerked on Brooklyn Beckham at his wedding. Like I'm sorry. So
Exactly.
that's I'm like, what?
To a
I
Marc
don't
Anthony song.
to a Mark Anthony. That's the whole thing where I'm like, what is happening? But I'm just like, at the end of the day, this is a family that needs reconciliation. And I hope they can get there somehow because, like, I just think there is a lot of him where he talks about, like, he would be like, I want to be a young dad because my parents were young parents and I admire my dad and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, that was like a year ago. And in a year now you hate their guts and want nothing to do with them. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. The story obviously is not going to stop here, so we will be covering whatever comes out. But
We'll continue to report back.
it's sad. Uh, well, speaking of more sadness,
Yeah.
Paul Radke, cake
It's,
eater.
it's time for us to talk about Cake Eater, which is Carl Radke from Summer House's memoir, which we read. The first thing that I want to say about this book is I really appreciated when I picked it up the length of this book. Carl's
Mm-hmm.
not pretending like we want to read 500 pages about his life. It was a short 150, very edible, easy to get through memoir, which I appreciated from him. So there wasn't like too much fluff in the book. We got
Mm-hmm.
straight to the point. There's only about 15 chapters. So 10 out of 10 for the length on that one.
Agreed. And I listened to the audiobook. Liv like bought the book and read it, but I felt like I the audiobook honestly was going by so fast that I even was like, "Oh my God, wait, I want like him to talk about this more." Like I don't know much about him besides what was on TV, like on Summer House, so learning about like his childhood and even like his early adulthood like
Yeah. It was
was
honestly
really
some of the most
interesting.
interesting parts to me. So
Hmm.
you listened to what it was him.
Yes, which I liked.
It was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was good.
Go ahead.
It was good because he like what I like about listening to audiobooks where the or memoirs where the author is the narrator is that I feel like you can really like feel their emotion. And Carl is like someone who I've been like watching on TV for years that I'm like his voice is kind of like comforting to me in a way. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this familiar sound. So I really liked it. I thought he was a really good narrator, not boring or anything.
I thought that they wrote it well because it did sound like his voice, and I have seen some critiques over the writing and like things where it wasn't proper grammar or like it wasn't written as fluidly as people would have liked. I guess if you were reading like a fiction novel, and granted, I'm sure he had an editor on this book because
Hmm.
every book has an editor that's published. But I thought that it sounded really, and someone critiqued the amount of times that the sword was used, but I thought it sounded really authentic to him. Like it sounded like it was in Carl's words, which I appreciated.
Hmm.
You hearing him speak those words made it sound even more like it was coming straight from him. But again, it didn't feel like super cold or like it was someone else writing it, which I appreciated knowing that other people definitely gave him input into the book. Um, and I totally agree. I thought like his post-college experiences before coming on Summer House were some of the most interesting chapters of the book. And I have seen Summer House like from season one up until I think it's going to be season 10 coming out
Hmm.
next week or when we release this episode. So I know some of these things he did mention like had been spoken about on Summer House, but I have forgotten about them in all of the TV in the years since I watched the beginning of the show. So some of the things that I re-remembered or learned from him were things that I was like, oh wow, I never would have guessed this about you. Like his experience in the Bahamas when he saw
Oh my God, yeah.
life. Totally could see how that would change your outlook on life or could shake you up and set you down like a terrible path. The fact that he worked on Criminal Minds for multiple seasons, it sounds like 3 seasons, like from the beginning,
Hmm.
season three, which I never knew.
Yeah, I never knew he had like a whole LA
Yeah.
desire to be in film and TV. Like I had no idea about that.
I mean, it makes sense with like him being on
Hmm.
reality TV eventually, but I thought it was really interesting that he kind of like went back and forth across the country too. Like he really just never had a place where he settled down. He would just kind of go wherever the wind takes him.
Hmm.
I thought that it was really insightful to see how, like, he kind of wrote about his brother in the beginning, who unfortunately died of an overdose, and then pretty immediately spoke about Carl's own addiction. And
Hmm.
even though he said like all this stuff about his brother and his brother's addiction, like you kind of get to the point where you're like, wait, Carl, you're talking about your brother being an addict, but this whole book is about you being an addict. And then finally, when he gets to the point where he realizes that he needs to make a change in his life and he becomes sober, it's kind of where he addresses that hypocrisy um,
Hmm.
that he had with his brother, of like judging his brother, talking about his brother's addiction on TV while Carl is addicted to multiple things. And so I liked that he did that sort of reflection in the book, and I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, same. I really thought the way he wrote about his brother was like really honest and real, like where he was like kind of like this, like, because it was his older brother and he had these issues all throughout his life, like kind of in high school and things like that. So Carl grew up with this presence of like drug abuse and sort of mental health issues and things like that. And I feel like the way he wrote about it was really honest, as like I've had to deal with things like that in my own family and my extended family too. So like the way he wrote about it, I was like, this is so true, where like you kind of are like so embarrassed that this is like even happening to you. But then you're like, as a young person, like thinking that way, like this is so embarrassing. Like, how can this person do this themselves? But then like it's not until you grow up where you realize, okay, these are like not things that someone is like actively deciding, like today, this is I'm gonna ruin my life. Like they like it's like beyond
Yeah,
their
I think
control.
the way that he was talking about it in the beginning, like when he was talking about when his brother was in high school, was kind of like that his brother was just a bad kid. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't so much like it was the drugs that were causing those issues. So it kind of seemed like Carl, when he started using, wasn't thinking like that is why my brother is doing the things that he was doing. And then when Carl got sober, he realized like all of the work his brother was actually, because his brother had been in rehab at some point, like all of the work that his brother was actually putting in to try to
Mm-hmm.
stay clean. I thought that was really impactful too, like when he realized like this is actually like I have all this respect for what my brother was trying to do with his life.
Yeah, because I think with Carl, like when he talks about his childhood, I feel like there was a lot of insecurities, like just growing up poorer than the people he went to school with, growing up kind of like not having as much as other people around him. Also, when he went to college, he got like a full ride through like a neighborhood, like a neighbor, like or somebody in his whatever town. And like I feel like even when he wrote about his college years, like there was a lot of insecurities there. And I think a lot of that, and this is me being like therapist, armchair therapist, but like stemmed from like the fact, or like that those insecurities brought on this alcohol and like drug abuse issues, because he would use it to like kind of cope with college. He would be like, well, I'm just partying with my friends, well, I'm just like trying to like, chill out and like talk to girls or whatever. Like, this is just a party drug. This is just to have fun. But then it's like masking all his insecurities. And it isn't until like the end of the book where he addresses when he got sober, where he realized, like, oh, like, I kind of need something. I needed it as like a crutch to kind of like be somebody that I was never. And I think a lot of that comes from his insecurities. Because even when he talks about the show and he's like, people on the show, they make like all these people online were making fun of the way I looked, making fun of this, making fun of that. And it's like because I don't think he like really truly knew himself until he fully got away from the drugs and alcohol, because it clouded so much of his judgment of just himself, which is really sad. But I also think it's just so sad to me that like the show that brought him so much good also brought him so much bad. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Something that was really stood out to me, which is kind of what you were saying, is the part where he was working for Loverboy when he was sober, but before he left and came back. So he was working on their line that had alcohol in it, and people
Mm-hmm.
were asking him, like, how can you work around alcohol? And he's like, it's not being around alcohol that I can't resist. It's trying to mask emotions or be able to deal with things better. So like just having a beer in front of me doesn't necessarily make me want to drink. It's the actual situations that I'm in that make me
Mm-hmm.
feel like I need something. Which again, like you can really only have once you come to that realization. And it was so sad to see that he had to go so far like down to hit his rock bottom. I'm glad that he did hit his rock bottom because it sounds like it was like he was in a really dangerous and precarious
Mm-hmm.
situation, and it's kind of really sad. I know he does say in the book like that Bravo took really good care of him, and were really respectful towards him, but it's also really sad to see like looking back that we like watched him in that state for
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's sad looking back that like that was entertainment to us.
Yeah.
At times like it was really uncomfortable. He talks about when he freaked out on Jules that one season where everyone was kind of going at Jules, and he was just so mean to her in that episode where he basically told her to go home and that she was ruining the summer for everyone. It was so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because it was kind of normalized in this context of like reality TV and drama, everyone just moved past it. So I'm glad that he addressed it in the book. I wish it would have been more addressed like, kind of on
On the
TV
show, yeah.
where more people would have seen it. But it's really hard thinking back to like watching some of those old seasons. And I'm sure for him it's really difficult that some of this stuff is
Mm-hmm.
there too.
I also think that's a reason why he got so mad at Hannah Berner for
Yeah.
talking about his drug abuse, because on the show you kind of would only assume that they're just drinking because that's what they do on the show. So you kind of like, as a viewer, you would assume that like, oh, his bad behavior and things like that is just from the drinking. I never once thought he was like on drugs until like it was exposed that he was on drugs, because if you watch Summer House, like everyone just binge drinking every second of the day on that show. So it's kind of just like, oh, his outburst, his like anger just comes from the fact that he's drinking. And I feel like it was when Hannah like exposed that to him where he was like, oh no, now everyone's gonna know. Like that, I think that's a reason why he was so mad, is because you can't really mask it. Because once you put that rumor out there or the truth out there, then people watch the show in a different light where they're like, oh, this isn't just like drunk on alcohol. This is like you're doing cocaine, you're on Adderall, you are mentally like not there in a different sense. I also think another thing that was interesting about him saying Bravo protected him is the whole storyline where they were trying to say like Carl, like exposing that Carl had a sexual encounter with a man, but it was really sexual assault.
Yeah, that's
What,
crazy.
that whole story was making me so mad when I was like, oh my God, I was getting so angry.
I thought too it was interesting when he said that Steven like literally bawled his eyes out crying when they stopped recording that segment where he confronted him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to hear a little bit more like about that interaction. He kind of he brought it up and went into it a little bit there, but it never went into as much like how produced it is and the storylines, right? Like that people
Mm-hmm.
are bringing things up. And I guess we'll talk about it, but a little bit more, but like with Amanda and Kyle and like how much of their relationship has been brought up and like issues that have been not filmed on camera that then get brought into the show. I thought that that was interesting. He didn't go as far into detail as I thought he would. And something that is like on the flip side of that is when he mentions his breakup with Lindsay
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't bring up doing it on camera. And I know that was a huge issue that Lindsay has, was like, you planned this whole thing. You got production to come here and sit in my apartment so you could break up with me on camera. And I know it's not the same thing as the sexual assault gay storyline, but I would have liked to hear more about that too, because I know a lot of people have thoughts about how sort of produced or set up that segment was where he broke up with Lindsay.
Yeah. And he talked about like how, what's his girlfriend named Lauren? Is that
Yeah.
a name that I made? Lauren, I think, on the show where he was dating this girl. And he talked about how it was really hard to date her on the show in the early seasons. They ended up breaking up, but he was like, it was really hard because of the reason why, where they would have a fight about something, but then they would also have to have another fight about it because it would have to be on camera. And yeah, I thought it was interesting that he didn't bring up the Lindsay thing, but the sexual assault stuff, like I was like he did say that he got an apology for it in 2021, which I thought was really interesting because I feel like I feel like that was like the pandemic era where people were just like reaching out to like random people that they like hadn't thought about in like years and being like, I'm so
Well,
sorry
again,
about this.
also right after his brother died too, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
funny. And right when he got sober as well. So like I
Hmm.
wonder if it was like kind of known through the
All of that.
grapevine that he had gotten sober as well. I'm glad he waited a little bit to like acknowledge it. He said he didn't acknowledge it for like another 2 years after that.
Hmm. Yeah, because it honestly, I feel like it's a rumor that still follows Carl to this day. And it's really just like, I just think like questioning someone's sexuality as a viewer of reality TV, it's like you just have to take, if someone tells you something, just believe it. If it's going to change, and this can, segment us to the next like what's the word, like bring us to our next segment of the episode. But it's like, if you really want something to be exposed on reality TV, just wait, because it will be. Like, if you think Carl's gay or whatever, you believe these rumors and you think it doesn't matter that this he told us about this horrible thing that happened to him and that's why where this rumor came from, I still believe this. Okay, well, if it's meant to be true, it'll be true in however many years. But it's probably not meant. More than likely, from what he said on this book, is that it's a horrible thing that happened to him, that he doesn't want to be like associated with him in this like way. And I just feel like people, like the Bravo viewers, I'm like, but then I think it's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome on his end where he's like, Bravo is so nice to me. But I'm like, really? They kind of like set you up to like this horrible storyline. Then they also like made you look like a horrible person for breaking up with your fiance months before her wedding on camera. Like, I'm just like, really? Like, it's really interesting. But I do think overall, I really enjoyed the book. I thought he was really honest. And it made me, I don't have any negative feelings about Carl. I kind of feel like nothing really here or there about him. Like, I think he seems like a nice guy or whatever. But this book was just really enlightening as to, like, how deep his addiction went and how much, honestly, like, how far he's really come in these last few years, which is
Yeah, I
amazing.
agree. I think like how much you can see of someone and also not know anything about them.
Yeah.
And I think he got a lot of flack for the Lindsay breakup, and I'm glad that he could kind of use his platform in a totally different way. Like he's not necessarily like groveling about the Lindsay situation in this book.
Hmm.
Like he's using it to talk about recovery and addiction and promote like his sober bar and cafe. I liked the way that he took it and like the approach with that. And I'm glad that he's kind of getting his like I
Happy
don't
ending.
yeah, I'm glad that he's getting his happy ending because I don't think that he's a bad person again. He's been through so much. Um, and I'm glad that we could kind of like see him come back full circle. And I'm glad that he's going to be a part of Summer House because as much
I'm
as
so
they're,
excited.
they're all so old. Like
I know.
they were
Oh my
born
God.
in a summer house. Like when he said he was born in 1985, okay,
He was like,
1985.
he goes, my sophomore year of college, Facebook was invented. I'm like, what? Oh my God.
The
I
way that
mean,
it's so funny, like in some parts of the book, like talking about like being sober and going to the Hamptons, like since he's been sober and still being a part of Summer House and talking about how like things aren't as fun as they used to be. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you're in your 40s, dude.
yeah,
You shouldn't be at these places
no,
anymore.
you should be at like a dinner party with people your own age.
Yeah. Like play some cards at like a picnic table for fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun anymore, not because you're sober, but because you're
Yeah. Speaking of someone who also is old and needs to be like never being allowed in the Hamptons ever again, Kyle Cook and Amanda Batula
oh,
announced
we
their
knew it was
divorce.
gonna happen and it did. Um, it's funny because we were gonna do this episode about Cake Eater and Summer House is coming out this week when we release our episode. And I was going to ask you because there's been so many rumors on the internet they had been living
Hmm.
separately. People had seen that they were living separately. I was going to ask you whether you thought that they were actually going to divorce. My prediction was going to be that at some point there would be a separation, but that they would never actually officially separate. And I am still unsure if there will be an actual divorce. But what are your thoughts now that we have the actual statement that they are again, it's just that they're no longer together. It's not that they're getting a divorce.
Yeah, I fully have the same opinion as you. I think that I really like Amanda, and I honestly have no really hard like Kyle's annoying.
I wouldn't want
Kyle's a
him to
Bravo
be
man.
but
Yeah, I wouldn't want him to be my husband, but I will say he honestly has been on the right side of history a lot of times where he like
yeah,
defends the girls a lot. He
yeah.
did have a horrible season against Hannah Burner, but that's whatever, neither here nor there. But he's really defensive with when it comes to Sierra in a way that I love because I love Sierra. So I don't hate him, but yeah, I thought that they would stay together or like get separate but never really divorce, just because I think when you're with someone for 10 years and a lot of their life is so intertwined, they do Loverboy together,
They have
you
dogs.
know, they have dogs, they have this apartment, like all this stuff, they're on this show. I just felt like she got cheated on so many times on the show, dogged out, lied to, and she still married him, that I'm like, well,
I'm wondering what the actual final straw,
mm,
or even if there was an actual final straw. Like there might
same.
not have been. I mean, him staying at a fan's house till 6:30 in the morning might have been it. But like, was there actually a moment where she was like, I can't do this anymore? Or was it kind
Yeah.
of just like ran its course? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Because
just what.
even last season is when he started doing the DJ stuff a lot more. And she was like, I told you I don't want you to go out and stay up all night and then you get a job where you have to go out and stay up
Yeah.
all night.
Like,
But it's like, well,
what
you
else could
still,
I have chosen that was worse than
exactly. But then I'm like, I just feel like, and this is no hate to Amanda, but I feel like I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you're the wife. Like, isn't that, you're kind of being a pushover. Like, if I don't want my husband to freaking be a damn DJ at 45 years old because I want to have a baby and you need to stay at home to help me with this damn kid or whatever the hell, and we're a family, and I said, done, I'm done with this. Why is he allowed to do it? Like, I don't understand that. I never understood that. Like, I'm like, you don't want him to be a DJ. But then I think she's like, well, I don't want to, like, he's passionate about it. But it's like, okay, when you're passionate about something, you get shit on. Like, you're not even allowed to have passions in the same relationship. Like, she gets told,
I
no,
was
you're
so
stupid.
worried that she was going to be doing her swimwear and it was going to take away from her time at Loverboy.
But then he can take away his time from Ad Lover Boy by being a damn DJ. But then I think a lot of it comes from the fact that she, like, their life, I feel this way about a lot of Bravo couples. I do think there are some Bravo couples that are real and whatever. I don't think they're all fake. And I don't think Kyle and Amanda are fake. But it does come to a point where, like, so much of your life is together and you're on this show every year, like this united front on the reunions. It doesn't matter if Kyle is fighting with Paige. She literally will not really fight her husband. Like, he's
Hmm.
fighting her best friend. She'll just sit there and, like, be like, well, Kyle thinks this and that. That, I feel like a lot of that is why I was like, I don't think they're ever going to be divorced. Like, they're just too
Well,
connected.
to something like they've been commenting on each other's posts, and like she did
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, like right around Christmas, he was in a sponsored post that she did for Starbucks on TikTok, which I'm assuming that they were separated then since there's been rumors for months. But clearly they can be in the same room together. Clearly they can, kind of be nice on each other's social media. So they're past that point of like not being amicable. So it kind of does feel like maybe there was a point and they're way past that point of like really being a
Yeah.
cool couple. The internet was rejoicing
I
and
know,
a lot
which
of
I think is
people
so
saying
funny.
things and saying that they wanted Amanda on Giggly Squad and they wanted the Hannah reunion. Like I don't really want to see that for Amanda. Like they were married for what, almost 5 years and
Hmm.
together for 5 or so years before that. Like she shouldn't just immediately run to everyone. And I know a lot of the internet's like, we were all right and everyone told her and her friend tried to tell her. I know that it seems like it's that sort of situation, but like it's not nice to be in that situation.
No.
I really hope that it doesn't like turn into that for her because then she's going to feel like she wasted a lot of her years, and hopefully they can both come out of this relationship like not feeling necessarily like they wasted years of
Life, yeah.
for like each other's time. It's sad, but hopefully, they can at least take what they learned from their relationship and like have respect for it. So,
Yeah.
again, like while I would love the juicy details, I feel like we've gotten plenty from their relationship.
I know, I'm like, just watch the damn show. I do think it's so funny where I keep seeing TikToks which it is true, where they're like, if you're a single woman on Bravo, your trajectory of life and your career goes up, like when you
Yeah.
dump a guy or divorce a guy. But I also am like, the difference between like Craig Conover to the Summer House audience, Craig Conover and Kyle Cook, is that for the most part, Kyle Cook is kind of liked. Or Tom Sandoval and Kyle Cook. Like,
Yeah.
Tom Sandoval is the evil villain who did a horrible thing. And Amanda and Kyle, it's kind of like their relationship just, it seems to have just run its course. They still are friends. They're still this. And I just think
Kyle isn't like a bad person. He's just a bad boyfriend
partner.
husband.
Yeah.
Like when he
Yeah.
said, I haven't flirted with a girl in months, and he had been in a relationship for years. Like that is the definition of he is a bad boyfriend, but he's
Hmm.
a bad person.
No. So I just am like, and also I'm like, I don't think Amanda is like she's not gonna turn around and become an Ariana Madix. Like, I don't think she has the desires
I
to be
don't
like a
know. She
host.
doesn't. Yeah.
So I think people like wishing that for her, to be like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Like, you should be hosting this, you should be doing that. I'm like, I think she's happy, like having her swimwear line and like doing this influencer thing, and probably still, working at Loverboy because that's a lot of her job, and like she
Yeah.
owns a cut of that or whatever. So it's like, I just think people like, sometimes I'm like, you guys, like, your wishes for someone, I'm sure it's all coming in good faith, but like, let's slow it down. Like, you're not Amanda. This is not you going through this breakup or divorce or whatever, separation. Like, I'm sure it's devastating and emotional, but I also think that they are honestly, like, as rare as it is, like, I genuinely think they're going to stay to
I
friends.
kind of hope like to still be able to see them together. It's funny because they're doing like their Summer House spin-off, so it'll be interesting to
Hmm.
see whether that's like I think it's more highlighted on the girls whether Kyle will be involved, and then also I saw somewhere that Kyle said something about like when it's right for them to do Summer House together, like they'll do Summer House together again, and I'm like, oh, like we're going back, guys, like for season 11, or do we mean
I
like
thought
we're gonna keep going and then eventually they're both gonna come back? Like, oh,
I
what?
thought the show, I thought season 10 was going to be the end, and then they're going to have a new cast, and then they're going to have their spin-off.
I don't know, but supposedly he said something about when
I
it's
am like,
we summer.
I can't have them
Let's
on my
wrap
TV
up the
twice
summer
a
house,
year.
guys. We're good. We're good.
I
Yeah.
know, which we're excited for
Love,
that.
I didn't love Winter House, but I'm excited for like the spin-off of Summer House in City. Like that I'll watch. I didn't love Winter
Same
House. But again, it's because it's the same random group of
people.
men, the Tom Schwartzes that they're then throwing in with the Austins and the Kyles. You don't need all those men in one room. We know
No,
it's too
it's a
much.
hazard to women everywhere.
Yeah. But we're super excited to watch Summer House this week, so we'll definitely be talking about it in the coming weeks. Let us know your
Hmm.
thoughts on Carl's book, Cake Eater, and Amanda and Kyle's breakup announcement. Hopefully, we'll keep being as well fed as we were this week. If you liked this episode, make sure that you find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and make sure that you're following us at First in Line Pod on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.
Make sure you leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and also Spotify. You can leave reviews and comments on Spotify too. So give us 5 stars. Let us know we're funny and perfect and amazing. And tell everyone you know to listen to us, please.
Thank you for listening to First in Line.
Bye.